Welcome to Bravebud TV and episode 1 of the Motivation 101 series.
Janelle, smash!
All right, roll the video. Okay.
What's a dirty carrot? I just put it in my mouth.
Welcome to Bravebud TV. This is the place to be for bite-sized actions for creators to get super badass results with their mindset and productivity. We do things a little bit differently around here. You may have noticed we have this love for movies and superheroes and zombies. We do that just to have more fun, really, and to make our content more engaging, because if it's engaging and we're being creative and having fun with you guys, you're going to remember a lot more of it. So that's why you're going to see a few clips here and there from some of the movies that we love and some of the superheroes we enjoy watching. My name is Brad, in case we haven't met yet, and this is...
Blonde. Janelle, blonde.
Yes, love the hair. Very steamy. So today we are kicking off a new series that came to me because I kind of went to Janelle here in January of 2022 and asked her, what would you like to learn from myself? What is watchworthy? And she said,
what about dancing? Would you like to learn how to dance?
I would like to dance on the graves of my enemies.
Definitely motivation. You know, I struggle a lot, like many of you, with staying motivated to, pursue my goals, and I just need some help in that area. So please help.
Perfect. I think we've all been there. We have those off days, right? Or in some cases, it's kind of felt like off years. Pretty much the last 2 years has felt like an off year. I think we could all use kind of a refresher about, motivation and how to build up some greater energy levels here as we enter 2022.
Maximum effort.
We're actually going to start an entire series. Every one of these episodes is going to be pretty short. We're going to try to keep it to 20 minutes. And we're going to talk about a variety of concepts and ideas. One of those we're going to start with today is just talking about some fundamental motivational theories that are important for you to know. Then we're going to talk about 6 bite-sized steps that you can take right now, right after this video, to just help with your motivation levels in any given moment. We have a second episode which is going to talk more about what to do if you're in what feels like a total rut, how to get yourself out of a rut or a well, kind of like Bruce Wayne when he fell in a well. So we're going to have some fun with Bruce Wayne, Michael Caine, and how your brain operates.
Like cocaine.
The third episode that we're gonna dig into pretty much like if you're having an off day, what you can do. So on any off day, there are a couple great bite-sized actions that we have that we'll share in the third episode. And then we have a couple other episodes which are going to be about some tools, some apps, and some different things that you can use, as well as procrastination and how to overcome that. It's pretty much going to be a fantastic series, and if you want to watch the other videos, you're going to want to click subscribe right now. Just below this video, there's that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and you won't miss any of these episodes. All right, so I think that this is the time where you are going to leave us. Janelle's going to watch over in the corner over there, and we'll say goodbye to Janelle and she'll be back later. Don't worry, she will be back later as long as you watch the entire clip all the way through to the end. Let's start to understand motivation a little bit better. We're going to start off by talking about 3 theories that are fundamental when it comes to understanding motivation. Motivation is something that's been studied for thousands of years. You can actually go back 2,300 years to a theory called the appetites theory, which is from Aristotle, famous Greek philosopher. In Aristotle's view, it was the real or apparent good of a certain consequence or idea of what is to come, like an outcome, that determined whether someone would pursue something because they thought it was positive or tried to avoid it because it was negative. In the late 1800s, this philosophy is actually further discussed by Sigmund Freud. You can see it in some of his work where he talks about his pleasure principle. And you can look this up to research it in more detail. But essentially he talks about the same thing. We either take action with something because we've linked up psychologically this pattern of pleasure to a certain event, a certain task that we do. And we usually avoid things because we're linking pain to it. To understand this in greater detail, you can actually think about something simple like, say, exercise. For a lot of people, they never exercise. And part of the reason is because there's a pattern in their head that's linked up to it being negative. They've maybe worked out in the past and it didn't go so well. Maybe afterwards their muscles got really sore. They didn't feel all that good. And so they didn't work out again because in their head, they linked up exercise equals pain. And so whenever they think about exercise, they know they should do it, but because of a pattern that has been wired into their mind, they don't. What we need to learn to do is how can we actually rewire the brain and change that pattern, essentially interrupt it so that you do take action. And you can actually study this further in the second principle, which we talk about today, which is called Neuro-Linguistic programming. So this is more about the how. When you start to dig into NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic programming, you start to understand how your brain is wired. You can actually make changes by interrupting patterns like the exercise pattern and trying to convince the brain that, no, wait a sec, exercise is actually linked up to pleasurable. If I can complete this and do it over the long term, there's actually going to be a really positive outcome. And we're going to talk more about some of the bite-sized actions that you can take at the end of this episode and how you can start to create those patterns and change them. But it's just an important kind of idea, neuro-linguistic programming, to research and understand what's going on in your brain. When you think about it, it's kind of like a computer or an Apple iPhone. It goes through updates, it goes through changes. Our mind is the same way, and you're in control of the changes that you make in there and how you're going to upgrade it and pretty much change some of these things that are linked up to pain and start to convert them into, okay, this is actually pleasurable if I do this, and thinking more long-term and starting to change those habits. So we have a bunch of different strategies, which we'll talk about in more detail. So the last theory that we're going to talk about is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is from psychologist Abraham Maslow. He actually designed this theory in the 1940s, and it's been in textbooks for business students and psychology students ever since then. You can still find it today. It's still taught today. And essentially what Abraham Maslow was trying to do with this theory was answer the question, what is the meaning of life? What motivates humans? So he designed this pyramid, which you can see up on the screen here. He came up with 5 different motivators, or essentially needs that humans have that they are motivated towards fulfilling. If you look at the bottom of the pyramid there, you have the first section. These are the basic, fundamental, physiological needs that you have, just to have water, food, air. Some people struggle even to fulfill these needs. That is essentially their daily focus, is trying to fulfill their basic human needs here at the bottom of the pyramid. As you move up the pyramid, you can see the second section, which is safety needs. This is to have a roof over your head, or maybe a car to drive, or clothes on your back. The third section is relationships. So we all have this drive to have positive, fulfilling relationships, and we're motivated to satisfy those needs. The fourth section is called self-esteem needs. These are things like achievements. Maybe it's that big house you've always dreamt of. Maybe it's that big promotion in your job, or moving up the corporate ladder to a certain position. And then the final section is called self-actualization. So this is where you finally feel like you're fulfilling your purpose. You feel like you're self-fulfilled. Ultimately, this is where we all want to get to, is to be completing things, doing things that are self-actualized. For some people, this pyramid doesn't look at all like this. Like I said, some people are at the very base of it. Some people have a really wide pyramid where a lot of their focus is really on their relationships. That's where a lot of their time is spent, and they don't spend as much time maybe in the self-esteem area. We all fit into a different area of this pyramid, and of course, we're trying to fulfill many of these needs all at once. Marketers actually use this pyramid when they're designing ads, because they'll be targeting a certain group of people and their product fulfills certain needs, and so they'll create their ads tailored towards a certain section of this pyramid. You can also use it when understanding employee performance, for example. The ways that I've used it is when designing like reward systems. We'll use this to determine where are the majority of our employees, what motivates one person from another person, what needs are they trying to fulfill. So you can also use this for yourself. Pause this video right now and just spend 30 seconds answering this question. What part of the pyramid am I focused on most right now at this current point in my life? All right, so I think we have a pretty good foundation. We have a good understanding of why we do what we do based on the pain and pleasure principle from Sigmund Freud. We have a good understanding, kind of a base knowledge of, okay, how do we make some changes? We know that we can interrupt this pattern. We can change the way our brain thinks, our mind thinks, and we can make some small adjustments. And then finally, we understand, hey, what is dominating our motivation? What are the needs that we're trying to fulfill? So you can see these three theories really work well together to have a good base understanding of motivation.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
It's time for another super badass idea, bad idea. Super badass idea. Taking action, putting yourself out there, and filming your first dance video. Bad idea. Taking action and inviting grandma and grandpa to be a part of your first dance video. Super badass idea. Picking up a copy of Bravebud Bite-Size Actions for super badass results. Still a bad idea. Inviting grandma and grandpa to be a part of your first dance video. All right, everyone, it's time for what you've all been waiting for, which are our 6 bite-size actions. The first bite-size action that we have for you today is called the 3-second rule. So this is something that you've actually probably experienced at some point in your life. Probably when you were a kid going to school, you experienced this rule. So what it is, pretty much just counting down from 3. So you have something that you know you should do, that you want to do. In your head, what you're going to do is you're going to count down 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to take action with whatever that thing is. Start with things that are like really simple, like just waking up in the morning. Set a time, a habit of maybe a 6 a.m. wake up call or whatever it is every single day. And you might be the type of person who maybe takes 30 minutes to get out of bed. But instead, when the alarm goes off, count down 3, 2, 1, and then take action. This is something that, like I said, you've probably experienced before. You probably can remember in elementary school where you had a teacher who was trying to get the class to shut up and said, 3, 2, 1, all right, everybody be quiet now. And the class just became conditioned every single time that the teacher was counting down like that, that they would be quiet. The same thing works for you at any point in your life. Start to link that 3-second rule up with behaviors and actions. And like I said, if you start with just small things like waking up, you're gonna notice that you'll be able to use it with other bigger actions in your life. You'll find it makes a huge difference. The second bite-size action for today is also to do with mindset, and it is called the 5-hour rule. So we have the 3-second rule and the 5-hour rule. Benjamin Franklin would use this rule back in the day, where he would devote 5 hours every single week to learning, reading, doing something to help him grow. It's essentially trying to operate with more of a growth mindset in your life. Ultra successful people like Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, and many others use this 5-hour rule, and I have used it throughout my career. I find that, our teams, our employees, our leaders grow far quicker when we're giving them 5 hours to work with every week that is devoted towards their learning and growth. Now, it's not 5 hours every day. You want to try to split it up between your days. So that's 5 days with 1 hour every single day. Start small, I usually say. So maybe it's not 5 hours for you. So maybe it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes every day. So later in your evening, instead of turning on Netflix and watching Game of Thrones or Tiger King 2, spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes watching something on YouTube that is really beneficial to your growth and learning something new. That's an easy way to just start to transition, and eventually you'll work your way up to the full 5-hour rule. And in the short term, you might notice a slight drop off in your performance, but in the long term, the benefits will be huge for you. Next, we're going to talk about physiology. So I have 2 bite-sized actions in this area for you to try out. Now, the first one is very simple and seems obvious, but is sometimes tough to do. So it's called recharge the batteries. We need rest. I think so often we're so driven in the pursuit of our goals and what we're trying to achieve, and we work so hard in our careers that we forget the importance of really focusing on our sleep and finding ways to recharge and rest in our days. This is critical. You're not going to be very motivated or very energetic if you're not getting the sleep that you need. Maybe it's 6 hours, maybe it's 7 hours or 8 hours a night. I'm not sure what that exact time is for you, but what I want you to do after this video is take some time to think about what is just one way that I can improve my rest routines or my sleep routines every single night. Maybe it's buying some blackout curtains or an eye mask or earplugs. Think of something super simple that you can do, because this is critical to your physiology and your motivation levels. All right, the second bite-sized action that I have for physiology is just throw on some tunes when you're feeling unmotivated. Throw on that favorite song that you have, whatever it is, to get yourself pumped up. I do this all the time. I'll be feeling that like 2 o'clock slump in the afternoon, and honestly, I just step away from whatever I'm doing and I'll take 10 minutes to actually pump up the tunes and start dancing. I find instead of having to go grab a cup of coffee, I can use this method and I notice a huge boost in my motivation and my energy levels. You can change your physiology in an instant like that. Hey, maybe it's something else like not dancing, but maybe it's in your head repeating a certain mantra or something about yourself, or maybe a phrase like this one.
Maximum effort!
All right, bite-sized action number 5 is what we're on to now. So this one is all about having a powerful why. In our books, like this one called Bravebud, Bite-Sized Actions for Super Badass Results, I have a whole section that's all about goal setting and about connecting your why or your whys to what you're doing. So if you're doing something and you don't have a powerful why, you're not gonna be very motivated to do it. So what's really important is that you take the time, and the bite-sized action for you today is to take just 5 minutes or less and summarize your whys for a goal or something that you know that you should start doing. Maybe it's that you want to start exercising more. Maybe you want to start meditating. So what I want you to do is write that down. I want to start meditating, say 3 times per week, 10 minutes each time, and then write down your whys. Why is it important? Go and actually do a little bit of research and get some facts and some powerful whys behind why you want to do that. All right, we're down to our final bite-sized action of today. This is number 6, and this is in a section that I like to call Find Your League of Extraordinary Ass-Kicking People. This is your support group, your people who've got your back, who are gonna hold you accountable. The bite-sized action that I want you to take in this area is for you to write down a couple people who inspire you. These are motivational individuals who you could probably learn a lot from. These might be people who are doing something that you want to do. They're people who inspire you. Write down those people. Try to write down as many as you can. So I hope you've enjoyed all 6 of those bite-sized actions in those 4 core areas of mindset, physiology, your why, and your league of extraordinary ass-kicking people. You can actually find a lot of great exercises in this book that we've put together. It's actually an action journal. It's really action-focused. We did a ton of illustrations in it and just kind of made it a ton of fun. We got this superhero theme going throughout. There's a little bit of positive profanity, inspirational profanity, I like to say, all throughout the book. But the exercises, you'll see some that are to do with mindset, like one called Optimus Priming. There's also another one called Rewriting Your Origin Story, which are some great exercises to practice what we talked about today. We also have an entire chapter that's devoted to finding your league of extraordinary ass-kicking people. And there's a bunch of great exercises in there. And there's a ton of space for you to essentially answer some of the questions that are in here that are gonna help you start thinking about some strategies and some ways that you can start to take bite-sized actions in your life to get the super badass results you want out of it. All right, we're gonna bring Janelle back to life now.
What's up?
Hi,
Yeah.
welcome back.
You could just ask me nicely, come back into the room.
All right.
Snapping.
Yeah, I don't snap every time I want her attention. That would be horrible for our relationship, I'm sure. All right, so tell me, what was your biggest aha moment from today?
I would say the 5-hour rule. You know, I think it's been most impactful for me over the last several months to devote that time into my growth and into learning new skills and to doing things that help me grow. And so, you know, spending 5 hours a week on myself and my passions has been probably the biggest growth tool that I have gained. So thank you.
Love it. All right. So you'll probably see Janelle a few more times here and there. She appears in our videos and makes a few cameos. She's really the comic relief somewhat.
Somewhat? Wow.
No, she's actually a huge help. She was actually co-authored our book and then also does a lot of work with our social media, helping out with the Bravebud brand. So you'll see her every once in a while here, but she also runs her own YouTube channel.
That I do.
All right. So next week's episode, if you're interested in watching it, we actually have it right here for you. You can click this video and start watching Motivation 102, which is all about Bruce Wayne, Michael Caine, and your brain and how to get yourself out of any rut or well that you might be in.
My cocaine.
What?
My cocaine.
Oh, you're saying Michael Caine. I thought you were saying something about cocaine.
Was I?
Okay.